You are tuned in to The T Side, a podcast where we talk total health, life lessons, and music. I'm your host, licensed therapist, doula, and music enthusiast, Tawnya D. Now let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of The T Side podcast with me, Tawnya D. If this is your first time listening, thank you, and I hope it won't be your last. If you like what you've heard, be sure to follow me wherever you listen to podcasts so you'll be notified when new episodes drop. Today, I have a very special guest on the show. I'm so excited. I have Debi from Trivia Rewind. And now, anyone that knows me knows that I love history and trivia almost as much as I love music. So I invited Debi on to do an episode of Trivia Rewind about the movie Purple Rain. Debi, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you decide to start your podcast?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Tawnya. I'm so excited that you asked me to be here. Well, I started loving TV and movies when I was a little kid, and I thought, I want to go to college to do this. So I went to Baylor University and I majored in radio, TV, film. And after I got out of college, I got a job on that children's television series Wishbone about the little dog. I don't know if you remember that, that would like go into classic literature and read books. Well, then my husband got into medical school, so I had to give up the job because we had to move. And then I was a stay-at-home mom when we had kids, and I got a job as the classic TV guide there was a website called about.com. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. So for several years, I was their guide to classic TV, and I would write articles and provide links and things about classic TV. And thanks to that, somebody saw the site and asked me to write 3 trivia books on movies and TV and various things. And I was able to do that from home when my kids were little. And then there was that long period of time where, you're just home and you have kids. And then I'm like, oh, I went to college and did all of that radio, TV, film stuff. And I feel like I'm missing out. And then the pandemic came, which gives everyone a lot of time to think. And I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to start a podcast, but didn't know how. So at probably around September of last year, I decided to start the Trivia Rewind podcast and use my love of TV and film and create this fun podcast with trivia and fun facts. Like you, I like learning new things. And so I think it's a fun opportunity to intermix trivia with, you leave learning something new, not just questions and answers.
One of most of my favorite shows on TV are music history shows. Like VH1 had, I don't remember the name now. But and now there's Unsung, which just had one on Morris Day.
Okay.
Morris Day and the Time. And they had them on old Motown artists like Tammy Terrell, Marvin Gaye. And so I just really like learning all of that, because for me, history isn't that far removed, no matter what type of history you're talking about, and especially music. So I absolutely love it.
And it's always fun to learn new things. Like I had never seen the Purple Rain movie before, but thanks to you, I watched it and it was great. So it's something I may not have seen before. And I think sometimes when we listen to podcasts and maybe we hear about something, it encourages us to maybe watch it or, learn more about that topic, which we wouldn't have if it hadn't been for that. So thanks to you, I now have that.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you liked it. It's a classic. I grew up I was a conflicted child. I really loved Prince, and I really, really loved Michael Jackson. So, everything in the 80s, I had everything purple, like Prince.
Yeah.
I even wore my hair over one eye, like Prince. But all of my things that I had was Michael Jackson. Like I had my PYT shirt, but it was purple. So,
how funny.
I don't know if you remember those string purses. It was like a string in the purse that you, like a crossbody. Yeah, it was purple, but it said Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, in the 80s, I probably would have been more of a Michael Jackson person than a Prince person.
Yeah, I've always loved Prince and Michael Jackson. I really can't choose because I love them for different reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a poster collector. I had the When Doves Cry album. Well, there was a poster that came in the album, and it was When Doves Cry.
That's so exciting.
And so it was like a twofold poster. So it was a bigger poster, and I had that on the wall, but I also had Michael Jackson with the yellow sweater vest poster.
Yeah.
I, I had that one on the wall too. Actually, I still have that poster.
Think of what
So,
kids are missing out on today. They hear all their music online. They don't get to go buy a cool like album with a poster
nope,
inside of it. So that's, they're missing out.
I know. Actually, the Purple Rain album, because they used to have lyrics and words and
Yes, I loved that
credits,
back then.
and I'm not even sure where I got it. I have no idea, but apparently it came separate. It's a purple 45 of Purple Rain,
Oh,
and it's just in a little plastic sleeve. I have no idea where I got it from, but I still have it,
yes,
and
definitely hold on to all that
it's
stuff.
a
There's things
collector's
I got
item.
rid of I wish I still had. So definitely
Yeah.
keep that one.
But see, because I like history, I'm like, no, that's history. And actually, it will be 5 years this year that Prince passed away.
I
But
remember that.
when he passed away, my brother went to the local record store and bought me 3 Prince albums.
Oh, how nice.
Yes. And I haven't played them. I just look at them.
Just look at them and keep them pristine.
Yep. Yep. That's it. So, like I said, we're going to do Purple Rain trivia today. And just for anyone who may not have seen Purple Rain, if you have not, please go watch it. I'd recommend everyone watch that movie. And even my brother, who isn't necessarily the hugest Prince fan, if he has a girlfriend, it's like, you haven't seen Purple Rain? I don't know if I like you. Like, what? What do you mean?
And it was only a few dollars to rent, I think, on maybe Amazon Prime. So it wasn't that hard to find and it wasn't that expensive to watch. So
Yeah, I think it's like $3.
yeah, it wasn't
Something
bad
like
at
that.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. And on Amazon Prime, you get to keep it for 30 days or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So
But Purple Rain is a movie about a young Minneapolis musician played by Prince, while trying to avoid mistakes that his father made. And he was also trying to navigate the club scene as an up and coming musician. And he also had a rocky relationship with his girlfriend. So, Debbie, I'll just have you explain how the trivia works and we can go through the questions and go from there.
all right, great. Well, usually on my episode, I read through the questions, all of them, and then I go back, redo the questions, and give you the answers and the fun facts. But today I'm going to go one question at a time. And after I give the answer, Tawnya is going to give the fun facts. So we can start with question number 1. What is the name of the character at the beginning of the movie that tries to get a job at the nightclub? Her name is Tawnya. Do you want to say the name?
It's Apollonia.
That is right.
Yeah, her real name is Apollonia Cotero. And actually, the role was initially supposed to be for his girlfriend Vanity in her group Vanity Six, but they broke up at the time. She had left the group, and she also was supposed to be taking a role in Martin Scorsese's film The Last Temptation of Christ, but it ultimately got delayed and her part got cut out. So,
Interesting.
yeah, number 2.
Okay, question number 2. What is the name of the nightclub? The name of the nightclub was the First Avenue Nightclub.
First Avenue is actually a real club in Minneapolis where a lot of musicians would play. And actually, Prince played there himself. For the movie, they rented it out for $100,000 for the entire month to film all the concert scenes. But they actually finished filming the concert scenes in a week
Oh, wow.
because they were professionals
They
already.
get their money back for renting it out for the month?
I don't know. Probably not. Probably became a donation, but
yeah, probably.
But according to a 2016 article in The Current, in 1983, before Purple Rain came out, in the following year in 1984, Prince performed a benefit show for the Minnesota Dance Theater, which he used to be a part of. And he performed a lot of the songs that ended up being in the movie Purple Rain. And so the performances you hear in the movie are actually songs that were actually performed that night.
Oh, okay.
in 1983. I believe it was, there's a link to it somewhere. I'll have to post that, but you can hear the actual audio. It was a little grainy because technology wasn't that great back then, but you can actually hear the actual performances. So that was really
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Ready for question 3?
Yep.
All right. At the beginning of the movie, when Morris arrives at the club, what color car does he get out of? His car was yellow.
In the movie, the driver of the car was his right-hand man, Jerome. Jerome was in real life kind of Morris's right-hand man. He's actually the brother of another band member, Terry Lewis, and he worked behind the scenes and, just worked with the band until one day Morris asked someone to bring him a mirror during the song, and Benton just responded by ripping a mirror off the bathroom wall in the club and brought it out on the stage so Morris could comb his hair. And Prince liked it so much, he was like, "Oh wow, you got to keep that. You got to put it in the show." And that was it. It became a part of what they're actually known for. Jerome
That's
is
cool.
he's kind of like the comedy sidekick, but that's how he became a part of the band. He did some background vocals and some dancing, but he was always the guy with the mirror for Morris, always the guy with the mirror. But he actually played in Prince's next movie, Under the Cherry Moon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was kind of like the sidekick of Prince's character. Yep.
Well, he must have done a good enough job to be asked back, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, question 4 is, what is the name of Prince's character? And his character was the Kid, which, at first I was a little confused. I'm like, okay, wait, is that his name, or are they just referring to him as a kid, the Kid?
That movie, it's a semi-autobiographical movie because he did have a really strained relationship with his father, who was actually a musician. But the movie was actually developed to showcase his talents as a musician because, again, this is around the time that Michael Jackson was blowing up and really big, and Prince felt like he was better than the world. He was like, I can do that. So he created a movie to develop and showcase his talents.
And that's really smart marketing right there. I mean,
yeah,
I don't remember, did Michael Jackson have any movies about himself? I don't remember back then that he did.
No, he just kind of made more sci-fi like Thriller.
His videos and
right. And oh gosh, I can't think of the name, but he did have a movie, but again, it was more sci-fi based. Yeah. So,
I mean, but what a great concept to create a movie that showcases your talents.
right.
It's like auditioning for the world.
Exactly.
Let's see. Are we ready for question 5?
Yep.
All right. What is the name of Morris's group that he performs in? His group was called The Time.
Yes. Now, The Time is a group that goes all the way back to Prince's early days. And it was basically a combination of other groups in Minneapolis at the time. And basically, it was how they formed what's now known as the Minneapolis Sound. And the members were Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, who's the brother of Jerome, Monty Moyer, Jesse Johnson, and Jelly Bean Johnson. Now, people probably know Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis from fame of Janet Jackson. When Janet Jackson came out on her own with Control, she went with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Okay.
So they've gone on to produce so many artists and people. Terry Lewis actually writes a lot of the songs, and their production company is called Flight Time, which was the name of their original group that they were in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Prince had a group called Grand Central, and he actually brought Morris in to play the drums, but then he created The Time out of that group. So Prince was the architect of everybody, of everything. So, yeah. So cool. Jam and Lewis are the main ones. Actually, Alexander O'Neal was supposed to be a part of the group, but he decided he didn't want to split the money. He felt like he should get more money. So he went out on his own, and he actually did have some solo success as a solo R&B artist.
Oh, good for him.
Yep.
All right. Well, question number 6. Where does Apollonia tell Prince's character that she is from? And I'm pretty sure this happens when they're on a little drive to a lake, maybe. I don't know if that was right, but she is from New Orleans.
She was actually born and raised in San Pedro, California.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So in the movie, is that in real life?
In real life.
Okay, in real life. Okay. So it's interesting that they would have her in the movie be from New Orleans.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I'm not sure why.
I mean, they didn't really expand on it or anything. So it's interesting how they would choose that. But well, question number 7. What does Prince's character tell Apollonia that the first step of initiation is? And this was when they went out to the lake, and he said the answer is to purify herself in Lake Minnetonka. And he kind of tricked her on this one. So you can go into that if you want.
Yes, that's a classic scene. She's actually said herself in interviews that she had no idea that would be such a trademark scene.
Yeah.
And because Purple Rain is really the movie that she's known for.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually got hypothermia. I believe she ended up jumping in the lake about 4 times.
Oh,
and
wow.
Basically, when they recorded it, it was the dead of winter.
Of course.
So it was actually November and December, but it was extremely cold, and cold enough for that day, according to the director, that snowflakes had fallen earlier. So he felt bad for having to redo the scene.
Yeah.
They actually had medical staff on site, and she got a little delirious after a few times. I
imagine so.
Yeah, and they had to finish the recording in Los Angeles later on.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. But just interestingly enough, Lake Minnetonka is actually the 9th largest lake in Minnesota. It's made up of 16 interconnecting lakes. And there was actually debate, and I couldn't even find a solid answer on whether or not in the movie it was actually Lake Minnetonka. Most people, including the location scout, said that that's actually the Minnesota River and not Lake Minnetonka.
Okay.
But Prince did actually record his Dirty Mind album at a home on Lake Minnetonka just because he liked the area. So
cool. I've never been there, but I'd love to see the lakes there sometime.
Yeah, I would love to go to Minnesota.
Not this time of year, maybe. But
no, right.
Okay, question number 8. What does Jerome tell Morris that the password is going to be? And the password was going to be the word what, and that seemed to cause a lot of confusion in the movie.
Yeah, what is the password? I love that scene. But that scene was actually a take on the classic Laurel and Hardy comedy sketch, Who's on First?
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of. And I didn't even know that was why they did that, but that is exactly what I've thought of during that scene.
Yep.
All right, number 9. What is the name of the band that Prince's character performs in? And I imagine this is probably pretty easy for all of you Prince fans, but it's The Revolution.
Yes, The Revolution. They were iconic. They are iconic. And the band consisted of Wendy Melvoin, Lisa Coleman, Dr. Fink, Brown Mark, and Bobby Z.
Okay. Are they around today, like doing anything together?
When Prince passed away, they reunited and did some shows performing the classic songs from when they were with him. But Wendy and Lisa actually still work together. I like superhero movies and things like that. Several years ago, there was a show called Heroes on NBC. And I found out they did the music for that show. I was so excited.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Glad that they still are out there doing stuff. All right. Question number 10. 2 bandmates of Prince's character give him a cassette tape with a song they composed that they'd like him to perform, yet he is reluctant to do so. What are the bandmates' names and what was written on the cassette tape? Well, we were just talking about them. Their names are Wendy and Lisa. And on the cassette tape was written the words Slow Groove. And that actually ended up being the song Purple Rain.
Now, Wendy and Lisa, they were 19 actually when they met Prince and joined the revolution. Wendy has a twin sister, Susanna, who Prince was actually in a long-term relationship with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When he bought Paisley Park, they were together and she helped decorate it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And Wendy and Lisa had known each other since they were 2. They grew up as best friends, attending the same school. And in a June 2018 article by Ammo Mama, Lisa admitted that they had actually been in a romantic relationship for over 20 years.
Huh.
And it was always interesting because, to be honest, it was always a question.
Yeah.
When you would see them together, but it wasn't really talked about because Prince likes mystery. So it was better not knowing. It was always a question of were they not? But she only recently came out and said that, yes, they were. I think they were together.
So she waited, I guess, till after he was dead to bring that up then.
Yeah, I think just because they were talking about how just being a lesbian and being gay, there was a lot of stigma around that in the 80s, especially with the AIDS epidemic. And so it was just better left unsaid.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Well, question 11. When Apollonia tells Prince's character that she is going to join Morris's group, what does Prince's character do? This was kind of an uncomfortable scene, but he slaps her across the face.
Yeah. And if you've listened to any of my other episodes, you know that I grew up in a house with domestic violence, and that's so unacceptable on any level. But it also showed how in the movie, how the trauma and how that impacts your family and your kids, because he ended up doing the same thing that his father did.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I felt so bad for him because it's like, that's what he was modeled, that behavior. And so, that's kind of what he knew to do.
Right. But another fun fact about Apollonia, she was actually a TV actress and played in roles on the show Chips and Knight Rider.
I used to love those shows.
Yeah. Before she did Purple Rain. And she also won the Miss San Pedro beauty competition and was a LA Rams cheerleader at one point. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, question number 12. What color is the guitar that Apollonia gives to Prince? To Prince's character. That guitar was white.
That was a beautiful guitar.
Yes, it was. Wasn't that the one she saw he saw in the store window and she went back to get? Yeah.
Yeah. But Prince is actually a multi-instrumentalist. I believe that's the correct term. He actually played all 27 instruments on his debut album, For You.
Wow.
So he plays a lot of instruments, but the guitar, people will tell you he's the greatest guitar player. A lot of people say that, although there's Jimi Hendrix and people like that. A lot of people credit Prince as being one of the very best. And if you get a chance, you have to go and watch the video from the 2004 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where Prince, Tom Petty, Steve Winwood, Jeff Lynne, and a couple of other people play While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It's
wow.
Oh my gosh. It's
I'll
amazing.
have to check that out. Are you going to list that link somewhere, or should I? Let's see. Is it on YouTube or?
Yes, it's on YouTube. I'll
search for that.
I'll have to put a link in the notes for you to check out. It's so good. And I actually watch it periodically.
Okay. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. It's amazing just to see how the other people are playing But when he comes in, you can just kind of tell the shift in the whole tone. Yeah. So it was amazing.
Yeah, cool. Question 13. When Prince's character performs the song that two of his bandmates write, who does he dedicate the song to, and what does he end up calling the song? Well, I guess we kind of gave away that answer earlier, but the song, he ended up calling it Purple Rain, and he dedicated it to his dad.
Francis L. And it's funny, my friend always calls me Tawnya L. Just because of that movie, and that was his name in the movie.
How funny.
Yeah. So now the guy that played his dad was Clarence Williams III, and he was a popular actor. He was actually on the show The Mod Squad back in 1968. So which was pretty groundbreaking because he was a Black man and his partner was a white guy. And just another random fact, because I like all this useless information.
Yeah.
Peggy Lipton was also on that show, and Peggy Lipton was married to Quincy Jones.
Oh, and really? I did not know that.
Yeah, she's the mother of Rashida Jones, the actress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, question number 14. Prince's dad tells his wife that she could make him happy if she just did what? Well, that answer would be if she just believed in him.
Again. The whole family dynamics and interesting. But again, the movie is semi-autobiographical, and Prince's mother was a jazz singer and his father had a band. He was a musician, and later in life, after Prince grew up, he and his father did actually work together on some songs.
That's great. All right. Question 15. It's our last question. What is the name of the club where Apollonia and the girls group that she's with perform? Well, the name of that club was The Taste.
The Taste was not actually in Minneapolis. They actually filmed that in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, yeah, because some of the scenes had to be shot in Los Angeles. Also, in the movie, the Huntington Hotel that was across the street from First Avenue was actually not in Minneapolis at all. It was in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So it was a hotel in Los Angeles. So
interesting.
Yeah. But just looking up more facts about the movie, it was interesting because a lot of people nobody thought it would be a big hit like it was. But even music executives like David Geffen, they were like, yeah, I don't know. And Prince put up a lot of his own money for the $7 million budget, but it made over $70 million back. So
that's an investment.
So yeah, it worked out. And a lot of the scenes, the movie originally was apparently supposed to be a lot darker than it was. It was written by William Blinn, but basically the director had a different idea. And some of the scenes, even though they were darker that were left in, they got cut just for time reasons. And they ended up in the trailer and in the video for When Doves Cry. Like when he was, like some of the scenes where he was at the rail yard and when he was riding his bike and things like that. And like at Lake Minnetonka. So yeah, they cut some of those. But yeah.
I just saw in the news this week, I don't know if you saw it, like Prince is still in the news. There was something the other day about a basketball player and how Prince was actually good at basketball and on stage. I can't remember which basketball player it was, but it was just in the news this week.
I don't watch
go back
the
and
news.
Look it up. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because I was like, we were doing this podcast about Prince, and here he was in the news.
Yeah, he was a very good athlete, and yes, he was really good at basketball. There's a whole skit on the Chappelle Show where Charlie Murphy, who's Eddie Murphy's brother, he was a part of that show, talked about meeting Prince, and they played basketball at his house, and the teams were the shirts and the blouses. And everybody thought, oh, it's just Prince, this little man. He's not going to do anything. He said he whooped everybody. And then afterwards, he was like, want pancakes, so he made pancakes for everybody. So yeah.
Yeah, this news story kind of went into that, saying like someone was like the basketball player was trying to tell his friends how good Prince was at basketball. Nobody believed him. And then I don't know if they found some footage from the concert or wherever it was that they brought out this basketball hoop, and it was like, yep, Prince is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go look for it.
Yeah, I'll have to look for it and send
now. Yeah, definitely send that to me. Well, I do want to thank you for coming on and celebrating Prince with me. So,
you're welcome. Thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. So I do ask everyone that comes on, because all of my episodes have a theme song. So what is your song for today? And it doesn't have to be Prince related or anything. Maybe it's just a song that you're listening to right now, or maybe just your favorite one.
Yeah, usually I don't have a favorite song. I don't have a favorite anything. It's hard for me to pick. But the music that I really like, and a song that I've been really listening to a lot lately, is Bob Marley's Redemption Song. Mm-hmm. And I just love all of his music. And it just makes me happy and, sometimes sad at the same time too. But there's just something about his music that I love that's timeless. And I've liked it ever since I was a kid. And it's just carries with me throughout life. So right now, that's what I really like.
Okay. Yeah, I would pick, just because of Purple Rain. Mm-hmm. I love all the songs, but I'll just say one of my happy songs is Let's Go Crazy. Just because if I need to get my mood up, I can just, let's go crazy. Let's get pretty much it just gives me energy. So
yeah, that's good. Very good.
So where can they find you? What are your socials so they can check out more episodes of Trivia Rewind?
Well, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and I have a website, triviarewind.com. And each week I will post the transcript there and links from the episode. And you can hear the podcast on Apple, Spotify, pretty much any of the podcast platforms. Just search for Trivia Rewind.
Okay. Yes. And definitely check out Trivia Rewind. I've listened to not all of them, but so many, because aside from the trivia ones, she'll do movie quotes. And I love movie quotes too. So
yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So she's done them on 70s shows. Recently, the Brady Bunch. She's done Marvel, commercials from I don't know if it was from the 80s, but it was older commercials. So
yeah, just older commercials. Yeah.
Yeah. So she does all that stuff. So if you're wanting to entertain yourself and see and test your knowledge, you should definitely check out Trivia Rewind.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the T-Side Podcast. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the T-Side Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss any of the episodes. And be sure to tell a friend about the show. Until next time.